So let me open it up. So, nice sound. I like the sound.
I like the smell very much. It's very lots of apple, a little bit tropical fruit, peach, pineapple, but also a little bread and yeast flavors.
Let's talk about Dutch wineries. I think this is very interesting topic.
Hi, and welcome to a new episode of Sparks by Vinofunk. My name is Jeroen, and today we're going to talk about sparkling wines from Germany. And I have a special guest, Jochen Schaufelberger. Welcome, Jochen.
Hi.
And I got in contact with Jochen because I did a chat with Bruno from Wijndomein de Boe. He also makes wine in Zeeland, and he also makes sparkling wine. And I asked, okay, how do you make it? Well, I sent my wines to Schaufelberger, and they make it sparkling for me. I thought, okay, but how do they do it? And then I got in contact with Jochen, and he told me, yeah, but I also make my own wine. So he sent me these 3 wonderful bottles. We're going to taste them. And we're going to talk about, okay, how do you make sparkling wines? Why for other people? Is collaboration? Do you go to the vineyards? And this is the subject of this video podcast. So welcome, Jochen. Again, could you, for people who don't know you, introduce yourself?
Thank you for this nice introduction, Jeroen. My name is Jochen Schaufelberger. I'm 31 years old at the moment. I live now in the beautiful Mosel Valley, so directly in the center. The village is called Brauneberg, and I'm very happy to make a sparkling wine. I can tell you something about how this started. The company started in the 80s. This was the time when I wasn't on this earth yet, but my pre-owners started it very small, and they bought some machines, used machines from the Champagne, and they started, and they were happy when they made 150 bottles per day disgorgement, and now we are doing between 600 and 700 bottles per hour. So this is quite a bit more, but it's still not small and it's not big, so it's in between. And they started doing a sparkling wine for other wineries because it's very special to do it. You need special machines, you need the room, the place, you need also the customs warehouses and so on, and you need the time and the manpower, and so we offered this to the winemakers, and this grew constantly. And I'm happy that I could take over the company in 2022. I'm not from the Mosel Valley originally, so I'm from southern Germany. Yeah, this is where I come from, and this was a hobby, and I made sparkling wines for the first time in 2021 from cherries. So this is also the new 2023 harvest, which I'm now riddling down of 121 bottles. So this is very little, but it's very special. So this is why I came in contact here and could take over the company.
Yeah, a great story and a great introduction. Well, let's start with, you also make your own wines. Do you have your own vineyards or do you buy grapes?
I don't have own vineyards. To be honest, I'm happy about it because we have a lot of work. I can work for 3 persons, but we have great winemakers here, and we know who has good grapes, good vineyards, and we pay fair prices, so we get good quality, and we get the grape juice after the harvest, so we can produce our base wines for the sparkling wine how we like.
Yeah, so you do the vinification yourself?
Yeah.
With your colleague, a winemaker, but here we have three different kinds of wines.
Yeah.
Could you tell me something about it?
Yeah, to before we start to taste, I have a hobby which is magic, and since I'm 9 years old, I magician, goochelaar in Netherlands, and I love doing magic, and so I thought, why not combine these two? And so it's sparkling wine and magic, and this is also you can see the logo on top. So this is a rabbit in a cylinder. So this is I like this, and I can show you also a magic trick before we get to the first tasting. So I show you something very hot. Hop.
Oh.
So this is something about money, and as a magician we have always a little bit of money. So this is comes from American dollar, but we can also go to other countries like 100 Australian dollars or 20 euros, or let's say this is I think Chinese yuan. This is 50 Mexican pesos, but we are here in Europe, and this is why we pay in euros, and this is 100 real euros. So this is what I do as a hobby. Yeah.
Amazing, but making sparkling wines is also a little bit like magic.
Yeah.
But yeah, I like magic tricks.
Yeah. So let's go to the first one.
Yeah.
So we have
It's a cuvée magique.
yeah,
Magic.
cuvée magique. Yeah, right. So it's a magical cuvée, and cuvée, of course, is made from different grapes. And in this case, we have three different grapes. Which grapes I am not telling in this case, because this is our secret, and every time it's three different grapes. It's always extra brut, and yeah, it differs each year. So this is the harvest of 2022, and our thought is, the vision of this sparkling wine is we have something for the nose and also something for the so it's three different.
Yeah, and a good magician never tells his trick, so that's why cuvée magique don't tell you magic.
Yeah, in this case, yes.
Yeah. Proost.
Prost.
Cheers.
Cheers.
Yeah, I like the smell very much. It's very lots of apple, a little bit tropical fruit, peach, pineapple, but also a little bread and yeast flavors.
And I like it because it's only 3.5 grams of sugar. So this is very, you cannot hide anything behind it.
But it's great in balance, and it's not too high in acidity. It's very soft. The bubbles are very good integrated. And it was from the year 2022.
Yeah.
The disgorgement was in September of 24.
Yeah. So this
And
is
only 73 calories.
yeah.
Lovely.
Yeah, this is also now we have more than 8 months of after the disgorgement, and I think this gives more balance of sparkling wine, because shortly after disgorgement, mostly they are very rough, they little bit sharp, and so I like sparkling wines which are at least 2 months after disgorgement, and even more, half a year or a year is even better. Yeah, so this is sparkling wine needs time.
Yeah, yeah, that was my experience also with wine from Bruno,
Yeah.
from Wijn Domein de Boe. It was very, the bubbles were very harsh, and it was very bubbly, very. It wasn't in balance yet, but he told me, yeah, but the wine was just finished, and it was the first time I made this wine.
Yeah.
And a couple of weeks ago, I tasted the wine again when I was there. It was perfectly in balance. It was amazing. It got more roundness, more structure, and it was the first time he made wine from his vines, and the first time, he made together with you in sparkling wine.
Yeah, I think it's a completely different sparkling wine after some months, so it will improve. Yeah.
Yeah, and now we're talking about magic.
Mhm.
In my imagination, is making sparkling wine. You have to have your own vines, the grapes. You make your wine, then you bottle it in a thick bottle.
Yep.
Then you put in some extra yeast, put in a cork,
Mhm.
lay it down for a couple of months, so the bubbles can integrate. And after a couple of months, let's say between 9, 12, 15, you make the bottles open, you freeze it a little bit so the yeast can go out, put in maybe a little bit of sugar, put in the cork, and then your sparkling wine is finished. But that's, in my imagination, it's a very simple process, but it's lots of labor. That's why a lot of winemakers don't do it themselves because they have special machines. But how do you work? Like you have this process, but how do people get their wines with you, and do you bottle them? And can you tell me something about this magic?
So most winemakers they bring the finished base wine to us. This wine needs needs to have not too much alcohol, and also not too much of sulfur. Sulfur is schwefel, yeah. So best is if you have a alcohol of 85 to 87 grams per liter. So this is this is perfect, because if it's too high, you get a problem with the second fermentation in the bottle. So it may stop in between. So we make sure also the values are right. So first of all, people bring and make an analysis for us, and bring the wine to us, and we stabilize it for the Weinstein. Do you have the English word for this? Weinstein. When you have, for example, you have white wine and you get some crystals down.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I I only know the Dutch word, Wijnsteenzuur.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And these are the acidity and the base, and they are combining and are neutralizing in the wine. This is no problem, but for sparkling wine, this would be a problem, because if you open the bottle, the bottle will empty itself without drinking.
Yeah. But you talked about the alcohol in grams, but normally on the bottle it's in percentages. And how many degrees of alcohol do you have to have? Is it like 10.5, 11?
Yeah. Between 10.5 and 11, sometimes less. But for the second fermentation, we have 1.5% of alcohol higher. So if we start with 11, it's 12.5. So this is a perfect range. Yeah. So we cool it first to minus 3 degrees. So this Weinstein, this gets out. We will filtrate it after, and we add sugar to it, so to 24 grams per liter. Yeah, and then we add the yeast So yeast is also very important. Which kind of yeast do you use? And you need to prepare it one day before, and so the yeast gets used to the wine also. And after we fill it, so I can show you. We fill it into a bottle, and we close it with this chrome cork. Chrome cork. Yeah,
Yeah.
you know what I mean.
Yeah, I know what you mean.
Yeah. So, and we have it in boxes, so we can riddle the whole boxes automatically, and yeah, this it lays down for normally 9 months, sometimes more, sometimes less. It depends. Also, you can influence the taste also a little bit. So if you riddle the bottles a little bit earlier, you get more the fruitiness, and if you have it like this, it's more the brioche and then the yeast taste. So you can play a lot. It's very interesting.
Yeah. So you get the base wine.
Yeah.
You fill the bottles.
Yeah.
You put in the cork cap, and then you lay it down. And then the wine stays with you, or goes back to the winery.
It depends on the winery, so we have both. So we can store it for the customers as well. We have also some wineries which we only fill the bottles, and they store them at home for 5, 6, 7 years, and are riddling them by hand, like so. And we are disgorging this for them, so this we can do everything. And yeah, especially for the let's talk a little bit about Dutch wineries. I think this is very interesting topic. Yeah, Bruno Suter, he came to me, Wijndomein de Boe, and asked if we can do the sparkling wine for him. And yeah, sure, why not? This is our daily work. We have around 250 customers which we're doing sparkling wine and also Secco for them. And I thought about the Dutch wine market could also be interesting for us, because I think some Dutch wineries are searching for someone who's doing such work, and we can offer it, and also we are not too far away. And I was 7 months in Holland, so I was in Leeuwarden and in Winschoten, so in the north of the Netherlands, and I went to the harvest also of Friesling. Maybe you know them.
Yeah.
A great family, and this was the first contact to Dutch winemaking. This was in 2016, so I wasn't thinking I would be here in Braunberg. Yeah. And then I thought, okay, let's see how many wineries are there. So it's 150 wineries. No, sorry. Yes, 150 wineries and 300 hectares of grapes in the Netherlands, and it's still growing, of course.
Yeah, it's growing. Yeah.
And I said I made a letter, and I wrote it in Dutch language, and yeah, so we have now around 10 customers from the Netherlands and from Belgium also, and it works very good. And we can do all the customs work. So they send us the wine with an EAD, and we send it back later on when it's finished as sparkling wine. So it's
so you have 250 customers, but how many bottles do you make then? Because in my imagination, we have one box and you have like 1,000 bottles, and yeah, you have your storage must be humongous.
Yeah, you need a lot of space for sparkling wine making. At the moment, we are doing around 150,000 bottles of Secco and 125,000 bottles of sparkling wine, but we are growing, so we can do more, and we also want to do more. You need to buy more boxes, and yeah, we are also offering now different shapes of the bottles, so not only the standard bottle. You see, so not only the 0.75 liter bottle, we also do now the small bottles, so the Demi and also the Magnum. And since some weeks, we can also make the Cru de France, a special bottle, which is very elegant, also for a Dutch customer. Yeah, we are slowly improving, and yeah.
It's very flexible also.
Yeah, you need to be flexible. If you make only standard, I think this is not the way it works. Also, especially for high-end products like sparkling wine. Especially, I really think this is great that the Dutch wineries, they are really proud of their products, and also the prices are very high of the sparkling wine. So I think they start all for around 30 euros. So this is good, but needs also yeah, a lot of work, and of course special bottles.
Yeah, because making wine is a lot of work, but yeah, you don't do it for free also.
This is okay. Yeah. Yeah.
No. And then you store it, then you riddle it, and then you also do the disgorgement, or do customers also do the disgorgement themselves?
It depends. Some do it themselves, but this is a very few. I can show you the machines if you like.
Yeah,
So
great.
I'm sitting here right in our production hall. So here we can see, here we cool it down, the bottles, so we freeze the necks. So we have here the disgorgement. Next one is corking and wire hood, and the next one is we are turning the bottles 4 times, and we are washing the machines, and we can label it, and we make the capsules. And so this is, and as you can see, it needs to be clean because we are working with yeah, this is let's say this is a food or something which needs to be clean.
Yeah, yeah, of course.
Sorry for my
Yeah.
English.
No,
It's okay.
It's very good. Yeah, you have to have a lot of hygiene factors also.
Yeah.
Yeah, but it's all an automatic process. But if yeah, you can't buy that machine if you only have like 1,000 bottles. Then the machine is too expensive.
Yeah, this is right.
Yeah.
You can do it with some hand machines, but it's very hard work. Oh,
Yeah. Shall we go to the next wine?
sure. Yeah.
And that is the Grauburgunder.
Yeah. Next one is the Grauburgunder. So,
Again with the rabbit in the head.
yeah. In the gray color, of course. So I thought, why
Yeah.
not? Oh, it's that.
Oh. And this is also from 2022, and the disgorgement was also in April of 24. It's longer than a year ago.
Yep.
Oh, it's very fresh, and yeah, it's again, it's very crispy. A lot of apple, lime, and it's typical like a Pinot Gris, like a Grauburgunder.
Also, you
Very
have,
juicy, very fruity.
it's your mouth gets full, and this is like Burgunder, typically.
When it's very fresh and very full. Oh, and what is the difference between this one and the Cuvée Magique? It other grapes, of course.
Yeah.
But do you also have a other yeast or other ripening on the lee?
The yeast is the same, but for the Grauburgunder, we have it longer on the yeast. So the Cuvée Magique, we are riddling very early, after 4 to 5 months, and it stays on top for the next months. So it had 18 months in total, and here we have it almost the full time on the yeast laying down. Yeah, and so this is also for the Mundgefühl.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, more structure in mouth. Yeah, and it's also a lot of toastiness in it, and more toast than the other one. But it's logical because it's more laying down
Yeah.
instead of standing up. And what are, because you told me Dutch wines are very pricey. You started with 30 euros.
Mhm.
But what is the price point of your wines?
With the Cuvée Magique, we started with 14 euros. So this is our Aushängeschild. So this is which shows us our presenter. And the Grauburgunder is priced with 16 euros. And later we have the Brauneberger Juffer Cremant, which is with 39 euros. So
Yeah, but between like 15, 16 euros, you have a high quality wine
yeah,
with a second fermentation in the bottle.
Yeah.
It's not like a prosecco with like a big soda stream. It's very integrated. It's the traditional method, like they use in Champagne. So it's not too expensive for what you get. The quality and the quality price ratio is very good, I think.
thank you. Yeah.
Yeah, I love the smell, and the bubbles are very nice, very foamy, very bubbly, but not too harsh. They pop like little balloons in your mouth.
Yeah. This is also because of the long time after disgorgement.
Yeah,
Better integrate.
and because a lot of Dutch winemakers, they make their wines, and like now in May, June, they release it, but then nowadays they only can release it to you to make it sparkling, and then they have to wait like 9 months for unrelease. Then maybe a year, maybe a year and a half later, they get their sparkling wine, and when they got it back from you, they say, "Okay, let's open it up." Now you have to wait a little bit longer, but you don't want to be you don't want to wait because you're impatient. You want to drink it, you want to sell it.
Yeah, I understand it. I think this
Yeah.
also takes time. I think after 4 or 5 years, you build up a little bit of buffer, and you can ensure a longer, better sparkling wine. Yeah.
Yeah. And do you advise the people also? Okay, you can get the bottles, but please wait like 6 months before opening it, before selling it.
Usually, we don't advise it to the people. Some winemakers also like it when it's very fresh, and for example, a Riesling when it's freshly disgorged. But I think this is also kind of thinking. So
Yeah.
everyone is allowed to do as he pleases, and yeah. So if someone asks us, we tell our advice. Yeah, and this is to wait at least 2 months.
Yeah. And do you only have customers from Germany and from the Netherlands, or do you also have customers from like Italy, Spain, France?
We have one Greek customer. So this
Oh,
is
one Greek customer.
very special. So we got wine from Nemea, and this was Assyrtiko, which is they tell it's the Riesling of Greece.
Yeah.
And I never worked with this kind of grape before, but it's a very interesting product. Yeah.
Yeah. And also interesting project because okay, how do you work with it and what is the outcome of it?
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
And mostly our customers are from Germany, of course, mostly from the Mosel Valley, because it's not too far away. But we also have customers from Pfalz, from Nahe, from Aar, and from Belgium and the Netherlands. Yeah.
Yeah. And you told me you make sparkling wine, but you also make sect or
Secco. So Frizzante.
secco, and that is with a tank method.
No, not exactly, but this is you take wine, you add CO2, and after it's finished in a short way. So we add a maximum of 2.5 bars, and from in the sparkling wine you have 6 bars of pressure, and this is with the second fermentation in the bottle. So this is a huge difference. But the Secco, the Frizzante, it's very good for an easy summer drink. Not too much bubbles, but a little bit. And this year we filled a lot of Secco, a lot of Frizzante. So this is
Yeah.
also what we offer.
Yeah, and yeah, it's like a big soda stream. Some people have it in their kitchen for making sparkling water, but when you make it like that, you can drink it immediately.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, you don't have to wait.
Yeah, exactly. But never try to make a Secco at home in the soda stream. Or if you want to renovate your kitchen, you can do it, but it's not a good way.
Yeah,
And
or you do it outside.
nah, yeah, you can try it. And make a video and send it to me, please.
Yeah,
Yeah, we have a direct impregnation. So during the flow, we impregnate the wine with the CO2, and it's very interesting because of as you told, it's drinkable immediately after the filling. And also in Germany, it's very interesting for the winemakers because we don't need to pay sparkling wine tax. So the sparkling wine tax starts from 3 bars and more. And if you have 2.5 bars, you don't need to pay. So in Germany, this is €1 and 2 cents on each bottle, and this money is not yeah, on the Secco.
so in the price of every bottle is €1 and 2 cents
Yeah.
of sparkling wine tax in Germany.
Yeah, right.
So when you buy, like I heard a famous wine communicator, Konstantin Baum, talking about sparkling wines from Germany, and he said, yeah, this bottle was €4, but imagine €1 and 2 cents is in the taxes, so the bottle was only €3. But you know the price of an empty bottle is like €1.50.
Empty bottle? No, if it's like between 60 and 70 cents, it depends. Of course, if it's a different shape, special bottle, it's
Yeah, yeah, and then you have the label, and so you have €4. €1 is for the it's for the taxes. Now, let's say €1 for the bottle and filling it up. So the wine only costs €2.
And I have
Yeah.
a great example. So in Germany, we are the world champions in drinking sparkling wine. So it's more than 200 million bottles. I don't know the exact number now, but a lot of this is very, very cheap. So in the supermarket, and this is made not with a traditional method like we do. This is done with big tanks, and with some are with €2.49. So this is very little, and as you can see, the tax of the sparkling wine is this big. And afterwards, you get the value-added tax, which also goes on this tax. So you have more than half. You have taxes, and then you have €1 left for the bottle, the cork, the wire hood, and the wine. So this is crazy. Somehow it works, but not with us. And if our sparkling wine is a little bit more expensive, even with €14 here, for example, the tax is smaller, and we can add more into the product. So,
Yeah, but if you make like a Magnum bottle, is the tax price also €1, or because the amount is
it's
double as
doubles.
much?
So it depends on.
Oh, it's also doubles.
So it's €2.04. Yeah.
Otherwise, I thought, okay, let's only make Magnums.
Yeah, 15-liter bottles.
Yeah. And shall we go to the last wine?
Yeah, sure.
Because this was a very interesting wine for me. It says on the label, Braunenberger Jufer Cremant.
Yeah. I'm very proud of this product, and it took me a very long time until the releasement, and I'm very happy. Also, I made special capsules for this, short capsules. So let me open it up. So, nice sound. I like the sound. So,
Yeah.
so yeah. This wine takes a little bit more time in the glass, and this is a Brauneberger Jufer. This is here Grand Cru area, very famous. Also, in 1976, Spätlese was presented at the wedding of Prince Charles and Lady Diana. So this is very, very special, and I'm happy to be able to present the Brauneberger Jufer Cremant now after 24 months on the yeast. And I'm happy that I got some grapes from this mountain.
So it's a very famous area, long time on the lease. This goes in March 2025, so it's very fresh.
Yeah.
But it doesn't feel like, and it doesn't smell like it's just been disgorged. It's very lively, but it's also very warm, full, round.
And the Brauneberger Jufer is also known for very elegant wines, which are not too loud. They are quite small but straight. And I think this Cremant also has this,
And this is a great example of
word.
what longer aging on the lees does with the wine. And when you have grapes from a very famous and high quality area, you get a high quality wine. And that, because the disgorgement was very fresh, the bubbles are evaporated a little bit quickly, but they're still in the wine. They pop in your mouth, and the aftertaste is very long also.
And
Oh, It's very lovely.
Thank you. And I'm also every time I join the harvest, so I'm very happy. This is my
And during the harvest, you pick all the grapes for yourself.
yeah, we cut it into buckets and we put it up, and it's all done by hand, and all in with full grapes. Full grapes are pressed, and I have a very old press, a wooden press down, and also do the Brauneberger Juffe on this press. So this is a lot of work, but a little bit of adventure.
Yeah, adventure, but yeah, that is how magic also works.
Yeah.
Sometimes a little bit more labor, a lot of work, but well, then you get a more and higher quality product. And of course, it's a little bit more expensive, but you get a lot more.
Yeah.
And because I love this chat, but we have to wrap it up. What do you think will the future will be for sparkling wines?
Well, I think it will be more individualistic. I think there will be a lot of more of the new grape varieties. So the future grapes, and I think also from the bottles, it will be individual, especially for the high price range, and also I think here at the Mosel we have also in whole Germany we have a decrease of the wine drinking, and also the wineries are getting less. Also the vineyards. I think this process will go on with the next 10 years. And the wineries are getting a little bit bigger, and I think the quality will also increase. So let's see how this will be. But I'm very optimistic, and I think also in the Netherlands will be maybe double than now. Yeah, let's see.
Yeah. Yeah, it sounds good. And also about the new grape varieties, the modern grape varieties, the hybrids, the PVs. Do you also make wines from like hybrids or PVs?
We filled it for Dutch customers also, so frizzante and also sparkling wine. For ourselves, we have one of these varieties. I don't tell which is here, but yeah, we are slowly. We're not in the big use of the PVs at the moment, but let's see how it will be.
Yeah. Let's see what the future will bring. More magic, I think. And you're expanding from like 150,000 bottles of sparkling wine, of 120,000 bottles of sparkling wine, or 150,000 of frizzante. You're expanding, but if a Dutch winemaker is listening, okay, but how can I come in contact with you? Just send you an email, go to your website.
Yeah. You can call me. You can write me an email. You can go onto the website www.schaufelberger-sekt.de, and you can contact me. No problem. So, and also if you have some questions or advice or about the customs, this is not a problem. We have all numbers and can help you there.
Okay, I will leave your contact details in the description of the show. Jochen, thank you very much for your time, especially because it's during harvest time now, or harvest after the wine is ready. So you are very busy. Thank you very much for your time. Thank you very much for expanding a little bit of your magic. It was more complicated than I thought. And thank you again for sending me these wonderful wines. and hope to see you again.
Thank you. And I want to show you also something, a magic trick for the finish, for the end.
Yeah.
It's really one of my favorite magic tricks. You need a handkerchief, you need a hand, and now, Jeroen, tell me a number between 1 and 5. Freely.
4.
4? Do you want to change your mind?
No?
No? Okay. And if you believe it or not, it's 4. It is crazy, but this is not the magic. This is the magic.
Yeah.
So, yeah,
It's another cuvée magique.
it's the Blanc de Noir. And if you want to see more magic, I do here events, the magic sparkling wine tasting, magische Sektprobe once or twice a month. And you can join it. Also, you can visit the company and see how we are working. Also, if you're a Dutch winemaker, you can contact me. You can call me, visit us. And ja, ik praat ook een beetje Nederlands. Dat is toch heel goed.
Altijd handig. Very handy. Well, thank you very much for your time. And if you are in the neighborhood, go visit Jochen at Schaufelbergen. Thank you very much for your time. And I'm going to enjoy these wines. Thank you very much. See you next time.
Thank you, Jeroen. See you.